Welcome everyone to my home. You can see my game wall behind me. I'm shooting this from my home today rather than my office. Mostly just because I forgot my camera at home, so I'm shooting it at home. I just have a couple of quick things that I want to go over kind of as an introduction to the course. First off, let's talk about the syllabus. There's a couple of areas that I want to point out. The areas that will be really important for our class this semester. Basically, these are the ways that you'll get your grades. Each week I'll post a question on the discussion board. I want you to provide a short answer to that, no more than 250 words. And then I want you to respond to at least 2 other people's answers with another short post, less than 100 words. This discussion board is kind of a replacement, a poor substitute for the kind of back and forth discussion we'd normally have in class. Because really a seminar class like this is structured to encourage discussion. There's really no right or wrong answers about the things that we're going to read. I've chosen specifically readings that are people's opinions. Now I think they're pretty educated opinions about the internet and the intersection between the internet and journalism, but they're opinions nonetheless. I have found that the more and the better that I've understood the internet, the medium in which I'm working, the better I'm able to do journalism. You know, one of the biggest things, for example, that we talk about, and that actually, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but what our first reading addresses is why is the internet free? Why do we have this big assumption that everything online needs to be free? King does a really good job of going through how the internet was created, talking to some of the people that were the visionaries behind it, and giving us an indication of why we think it's free, and then connecting into journalism, saying what this free idea and what these internet pioneers, how they have affected what we see as online journalism right now. Number 2 is the thought papers. Each week I want you to write a short, no more than like 500 words, I say 1 page single spaced. I want you to stick to that, be good journalists, edit yourself, because the goal of these thought papers is not to summarize the readings. Okay, I've already read them. The goal of these thought papers, again, is not to get you to summarize them, but to get you to give me your reflections, your thoughts, what you were thinking, how you can apply this, how these articles relate to journalism, how maybe they don't. I don't care. Don't disagree with me. Please do, in fact. I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room most of the places I go to. Each week, probably on Mondays, I'm going to summarize a few of the comments that I think were most interesting, most enlightening from the thought papers. You know, whether they're things I agree with or not. I mean, the goal is to get you to talk and to think and to internalize and digest and then spit out what you really think these readings mean. Okay, so make sure on your thought papers they're due each Monday for the previous week's readings. So the thought paper for the week 1 readings will be due a week from yesterday. I want you to make sure you mention all 4 readings in there, or I think some weeks I only have 3, but mention all the readings for sure in there. And then again, don't summarize. Give us your thoughts, your impressions, your applications, your opinions. Okay? The third thing is our final project. And now I'm structuring this, I mean I could make you write a research paper, but that wouldn't be applying the things that we're talking about. So what I want you to do is create a wiki. On the syllabus I have some links to some free open source wiki programs you can download. I'll actually also post on Blackboard a discussion of a wiki that I created for a class similar to this when I was a graduate student. So basically this wiki is going to be like a research project, but I want you to put yourself in the mindset of, if I'm putting this on the web, how does this change things? And also think about, a wiki never ends. It exists online to get more people and more people to contribute to it, to build knowledge over time. So you need to think about that with your final projects as well. Your paper on whatever topic that you choose is not the be-all, end-all story about this. It's a good place to start the discussion. And as you'll see in the description that I have on the syllabus for this conclusion that I want you to write for this, it has to include rules and a framework for how people can make contributions to this wiki. As far as the topic, I'm going to leave that up to you. I want you to address some issue related to journalism and the internet, and I'm going to leave it really open for however you want to apply it. To help you work on your wiki throughout this whole time, I'm requiring some rough drafts to be due at different intervals. You're required to do at least 3 sections to your wiki, an introduction and a conclusion. And I'm having rough drafts due for each of those. The way I do rough drafts is they're all or nothing. If you submit something as a rough draft, you get full credit. Okay? And you're going to be submitting the rough drafts through Blackboard as assignments rather than on the web. Because I want, what you put up as your final wiki to kind of be the final wiki that you've done. I think that's it for the syllabus. If you have any other questions about the syllabus, let me know. I also want to use these videos to give you a brief introduction to the readings, maybe give you a little bit of background to help you know why I chose this and understand a little bit maybe where the author is coming from. I already told you about Free for All. Eliot King is a really noted historian. It was kind of interesting for him to tackle this topic, but I think he did it pretty well. You'll read an essay from this book. This is Jim Carrey, not the funny comedian that used to be on In Living Color, unfortunately. But this essay that he writes in here is, I think, is required reading for anybody working in online journalism. Because he really asks us to question a lot of the assumptions that we have about information and how they apply. And especially our assumptions about technology and the value that it can have. He's pretty harsh, and as much as I respect him, I don't know that I necessarily agree with everything that he says. But I think his call for us to question the way we think about things is really valuable. Cached, this is a new book that I just got. This is another historical book, but this is studying the history of popular culture on the web and the internet, and how we've kind of covered that. It's been highly recommended to me by some other faculty. Like I said, I'm still reading it myself right now, so hopefully it'll be helpful and useful. And then our final reading, look at this old thing, all right? I love this book. I actually hadn't read it before this class, but I'd read tons of excerpts of it. And I thought, you know what, for this class, we have to read this book. This is The Technologies of Freedom, written by Ithiel de Sola-Pool. He wrote about convergence and technology way before the internet. This book came out in 1986, I think it was. No, 1983. But I think the 2 chapters that I've included for us to read are, he could be Nostradamus. He really understands the challenges of convergence, and like Carey, asks us to kind of question some of the assumptions of what it means to bring together lots of different media. So that's our brief introduction of the readings. I hope you enjoy that. If you have any questions, please email me. Or if you're on campus, you can swing by my office. I'm in 212 Schoonover. I'm there most of the days, working on this, finishing up some research, going up for tenure in the fall, so working on that as well. So I'll be around if you need me. Thanks again, and I look forward to reading your thought papers, reading your discussion items, and talking to you again through video next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.